Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So new flash footage confirms that Jason Rush is going to be on the show. Now, we don't know if he's going to be Earth 2 Jason Rush and he'll be like the Earth 2 Firestorm, but I actually think what's going on is something a little bit closer to the transition between Ronnie Raymond and Jason Rush in the comics. So I'm just going to do a quick explainer for the different versions of Firestorm in the comics and then what the show might be doing to change that. A new round of the reverse flash ring giveaway starts now. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. Robbie Amell, the first person to play Firestorm on the show, is Ronnie Raymond. That's the first version of Firestorm in the comics. Then during the Identity Crisis storyline, very controversial for many reasons, the Shadow Thief steals the Shining Knight's sword, magical sword, stabs Ronnie Raymond with it as he's Firestorm, and it kills him. The TV show kind of explained how unstable the Firestorm Matrix is. They created that special device to help them control it. In the comics, when Firestorm gets stabbed with a magical blade, it ruptures his matrix and he completely dissipates. The residual energy fuses with Jason Rush, who is nearby, and he becomes the new Firestorm. Later in the comics, they rebooted the Firestorm title and they changed the backstory just a little bit. They changed how Jason Rush became Firestorm. In the newer version of the story, the Firestorm Matrix sought Jason Rush out on purpose. It wasn't as much of an accident. It's like when Oliver Queen tells Barry, "I think the lightning chose you. I don't think it was an accident." Things got a little bit crazier because if you remember, Martin Stein is typically part of the Firestorm Matrix, but at this point in the comics, they had like spun the character off and he became this fire elemental that was in outer space that had no idea what was going on with Ronnie Raymond dying and Jason Rush being the new Firestorm. He just sensed that the Firestorm Matrix had chosen a new host. Because Jason Rush was still trying to figure out his powers and was derping a lot, he asked Martin Stein to become part of the Matrix again, and eventually he relented. On the TV show, you definitely need two people to form the Firestorm Matrix, but in the comics there have been various points when that wasn't necessary, where like a single person could be Firestorm by themselves. The cool thing is that eventually Jason Rush ended up fusing with a bunch of different people when Martin Stein went away. He actually got access to other superheroes' powers whenever he fused with other superheroes. Like he fuses with Firehawk and gets access to her powers too. Not expecting the TV show to do anything that crazy, just expecting Ronnie Raymond to make room for Jason Rush to take his place in the Firestorm Matrix. It's just like WWE and Ronnie Raymond tags Jason Rush in. Only two people allowed in the ring at the same time. For about 8 years though, Ronnie Raymond had been dead in the comics, like they basically wrote the character off, and Jason Rush had been Firestorm. During Blackest Night, Jeff Johns brought him back as a Black Lantern, and he became Deathstorm. But during that arc, Deathstorm actually absorbs the Jason Rush Firestorm into his Matrix, into his Black Lantern Matrix, and just does all these evil things. The whole Firestorm arc of Blackest Night, though, was all about bringing Ronnie Raymond back to life. So he came back into the comics, and then in the new Firestorm comic after that, after Blackest Night, there were two versions of Firestorm. There was the Ronnie Raymond Firestorm and Jason Rush Firestorm, both at the same time. That was basically like the New 52. Now, obviously, the New 52 has been retconned again. DC's changed a bunch of things post-convergence, so we have to find out what they're going to be doing with Firestorm going forward, but that's not going to have anything to do with the TV show. The TV show is going to be truer to the original versions of the stories. So I think Ronnie Raymond going away, Jason Rush stepping in. We don't know how that's going to happen on the TV show because we have this Earth 2 stuff going on. We have multiverse, so I know a lot of you are wondering if Jason Rush is going to be the Earth 2 Firestorm. I don't think that's going to be the case. But it does kind of lay some groundwork for this storyline in the New 52 called The God Particle, whereby Martin Stein creates something called the God Particle that basically supercharges Firestorm, and they end up fighting each other and then fusing into like a combiner, like a transformer combiner super Firestorm called Fury. It's kind of like when the Spectre takes over Jim Corrigan. Like, he ceases to be Jim Corrigan and takes on this otherworldly persona. The Fury has its own persona too, and it's not completely good. It's kind of a gray area, not a good character, not a bad character. But here's what's happening with the show. So like Arrow, The Flash Season 2, and Legends of Tomorrow, all kind of like one big show done across 3 different shows. It's like, it's the same universe, same story that's going to cross over all 3 shows. It's a huge time commitment from an actor standpoint. Robbie Amell's film career is taking off, so he probably just doesn't have the time to do 23 episodes a year or something like that. So that's probably why they're taking the opportunity to do Jason Rush, which is actually a really interesting story anyway. It all just kind of works out so that they can make some really good TV with some really good drama. So the first 8 or 9 episodes are going to be dedicated to introducing this new Jason Rush character, and then explaining how he and Martin Stein go to Legends of Tomorrow, become part of that team. But a lot of you are also asking, what about the Jason Rush that they cast from Season 1? We actually saw a version of Jason Rush that showed up during Firestorm's storyline. They probably just recast the actor. Franz Drameh is the actor that, like, they didn't say who he was. They're like, here's all these characters that are going to be part of, here's Hawkman, Hawkgirl, but they didn't say who this character was. So Franz Drameh, going to be a recast version of Jason Rush. This garage here is actually where he works. In the context of the story, he's kind of like a college washout that used to be a football player that got injured. He's working as a mechanic right now. I don't know if they're completely wiping the backstory of Jason Rush from season 1 because he was part of the Firestorm program with Martin Stein. They might weave that in. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about the idea of Jason Rush becoming the new Firestorm and them killing off Ronnie Raymond? Or do you think that it's going to be Earth 2 Jason Rush? I mean, it's possible, but I don't think that's going to be the case. It also kind of lays some groundwork for Caitlin Snow to become Killer Frost at a certain point, which I don't think is going to happen the first half of the season. And also on top of all that, this is actually a shot of Zoom coming out of the wormhole that Barry opened in the season finale. So he is going to be like the blue-looking Flash. And just because I've been talking about the 2 different versions of Firestorm, I really like the idea of duality in the villain, as in this version of Zoom is an evil version of one of the good characters that we already know on the show, or that we will meet during the course of the season. If you ever watched Buffy or Angel back in the day, it's kind of like the Angelus form of Angel. In other related good news, there actually was a little bit of new Arrow Season 4 material. I'll do a video for that tomorrow just because I was going to do a Fear the Walking Dead video right now before Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but then this Firestorm stuff dropped and I was like, holy shit, I gotta do this first. So that's coming. Just stay tuned on Twitter and Facebook for updates on when videos are posting, but my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Episode 1 video will post tonight after the episode airs. That's what's coming next. While you guys wait for all that stuff to post, you can click here for all my other Flash Season 2 videos, and you can click here to get ready for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody, let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.